Okay, back again after 2 weeks. With this one, uh, I think it's going to be more so about lifestyle rather than anything to do with money that I've previously mentioned or work, as far as like finding work. Um, but as far as this one, I'm thinking of titling it Prisoner or something along those lines. I haven't really come up with a definitive answer to what I'm going to put for a title. But as far as this one goes, um, I just want to focus on like how I feel as far as like the way that I'm living currently, as far as like what I've chosen to do, as well as like I don't know if there's anything that I can really do without some sort of intervention to make myself do better, I guess. So to begin, I guess I'll somewhat talk about work. It's the usual, being denied and everything else, but I've kind of come to this like realization because one of the positions I actually applied for sent an actual email, and I don't know if it's a robot email or if it's an actual person behind it. It was signed by an actual person, so I don't really know if it's like just copy and paste, whatever. But it kind of gave me a little bit of confidence boost, but at the same time, knowing that like it was still a denial, but they mentioned like, well, there's going to be more positions in our department coming up, and we think you'd be a great fit for this, and then you look at it and it's like, okay, but it's significantly less money or whatever you're expecting. So, but anyhow, that gave me somewhat of a confidence boost. At the same time, it's like, what is this? Uh, but as far as like, the job searches and stuff like that, again, I don't want to get too deep into it. It's just the same old. But as far as work actually goes or whatever, like, I've kind of given up to this point where like I feel like I'm putting myself in situations where like I want to get in trouble so I can either get reprimanded or fired in a way, just for the fact that it, I don't know if it's just that I don't want to be there because obviously it pays, gives me money. I have a savings account, so there's that, but I just I don't know. I feel like the position that, I'm in right now is just like whatever I did, I can get a slap on the wrist and that'd be it. So, I don't know if that's something I should be, you know, wanting or if that's like tempting myself into something I shouldn't do. So, I mean, that's how I'm feeling at the moment. Um, as far as money goes, same old, stagnant in a way, because I haven't really put anything into savings per se. I will admit, I feel like it's gambling because I've kind of lost money on it. But like, I took a portion of my savings, which was like $2,000, and I put it into different stocks. And like, I'm at this point right now because I put it in some somewhat bad stocks, I suppose, where it went from like $1,000 or $2,000 to like it's $1,800 now. So again, it's stock stuff, but I feel like it's gambling, and I feel like I'm like ruining myself. So now I gotta work another 2 months to get that money back to where I was as far as my savings go. Um, but that's really about it as far as money. So for the most part, as far as the rest of this, I just wanted to talk more about like my hobbies and just like I feel like it's a falling out in a way because I feel like right now I'm living in a very similar way to, and this might be just, you know, talking out of my head or whatever, but I feel like I'm living more like a prisoner that's confined to an area, but yet I can do anything. Like I have free will, I can go out into the world and interact, but I choose not to. And so, as far as like my thought process of this is like with my hobbies that I am doing right now, which is just one thing. I've kind of already burnt myself out in a way, but at the same time, I'm still like really interested in doing it. It's just I feel like to get out and do things and interact with people and everything else, it's just so hard to do because when I do it, it's like I can't even talk to anybody, you know? So I'm just sitting there, eyes wide open, just, giving you a stare, and that's it I can do. And I'm trying to get over that, but I don't know how I can even possibly do that without like talking online on like uh, some Discord or whatever, Discord server. Um, but besides, that and because I can't really do that and stuff, I've kind of like fallen out a little bit. And so I'm in this weird state where like I feel like I've picked up something that's good for the most part because I've like it came out of like me reading articles and like kind of dooming a little bit, and I feel like this is something that I can do a little bit better. But at the same time, it's like I feel like if you ever seen the movie Shot Caller, um I feel like, you know it's being a prisoner, you know the greatest weapon is a prisoner's mind because they can't control it or whatever, that type of thing. I forget the quote that the boss uses on there or whatever, but it's like I'm not really getting into psychology. I'll just get into it, but I'm not getting into psychology books or anything like that. But I have been like reading or picking up reading. Some of the stuff that I've been like looking at is like talking about how people don't even like people are illiterate now and stuff, and it just got me thinking like I haven't read a book like in a while, like an actual book that I actually wanted to sit down and read. Like the last time that was maybe in like middle school, and that's like over 8 years now at this point. So like I've kind of gotten into a little bit there. About done. This is my second book here that I've read. Which like technically I mean it's been a while since I've read, and that book in particular has like almost 1,000 pages. It's like 700 some. Uh, but like that for example, I did start reading it back in like May. I kind of like gave up on it, but I've kind of recently just got back into it, so I'm a little bit more than halfway. I'm almost done with it. I got like less than 200 pages, but I feel like just reading a little bit more and it'll be better as far as like maybe speaking. I don't know, but at the same time, it's like I feel like I should stick with one thing or the other and not really do multiple different things, even if it's like that's not really a hobby per se. And the other thing that I'm doing currently is at the same time somewhat it has to do with like money, but at the same time I feel like if I don't have a routine of like say reading and or like giving myself enough time with the hobbies that I want to do, that I I might as well just stick with one or the other. So I don't know how else to really say that, but so that's kind of like what I'm doing right now, and there's a little bit more with like how my thought process as far as like being a prisoner and stuff. Not only like I mentioned that I feel like I should just confine myself, but also reading and stuff like that. Give myself to do something by myself for myself. At the same time, I'm not really like one to think that I'm like big as far as weight wise or whatever, but I've somewhat picked up a little bit more exercising than what I usually do. I mean, like I walk like 5 miles, if not more, a day at work, but I don't know. Somewhat maybe it has to do with the dooming that I'm doing and stuff like that. It's just like I just do simple stuff or whatever, like 10 sit-ups a day and 10 push-ups a day and a couple lunges, and that's like where I'm starting at. But I'm trying to make that a daily routine where like first thing in the morning and right before I go to bed. So there's that too, I guess, somewhat. But why I bring this up too is I know like last video that I posted up, I did read the one thing that I got, and I know it was talking about like, take some hobby and do that for some odd minutes or hours or whatever, occupy your time or whatever. And like I have, it's just I feel like I'm not doing it in a set routine or in a way just like making it a somewhat daily habit or weekly at least. And like I kind of give up a little bit at a time, and then like I'll come back to it, and it's like I feel a little bit overwhelmed because it's like I wasted a bit of time in between. Like I haven't really touched any of my miniatures or whatever, and now it would be a little bit over 3 weeks, so almost a month. I haven't really messed with them, other than just like looking at them, you know, for display. But whereas like if I picked up a book, I can just do that. Like I do it at work. Like I bring it to work with me, and that's what I've been trying to do instead of being on my phone constantly to somewhat kind of stop doing the whole dooming and stuff. At the same time though, I just feel like I'm putting myself in this sort of way where like I want to delete all apps I have, even YouTube in a way. But at the same time, it's like I feel like it's a struggle because I want to be connected in some way because I'm not connected to people like physically, but I am more so like online, even though I'm really not. I'm just kind of more of a lurker, I guess, because I don't really post things or whatever. I just like read and like watch videos and stuff like that. The only thing I'm really ever posting are these, because this is a whole new like experience for myself. But I mean, that's what I'm kind of thinking of as far as that goes. I'm not really like stuck in my room or anything like that. I usually go in the living room, but I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of just so shut in that I just am in a way a prisoner, you know? I don't know. I think I'm talking out of my head a little bit. So, but for the most part, I feel like this is a way for me to get that out and express myself a little bit. So maybe that's that. And then, maybe to move on topic a little bit, talking about what I read from my last video and stuff, what I got. It's not the fact that I've kind of given up on the idea of owning a home or anything like that. Because I understand that's a huge process. That's like a whole lifetime thing. That's the American dream, right? Like people want to own their own homes or whatever and everything else. And I'll just like give a little story of like something that I just feel like is so dumb, but it's so widely accepted. And maybe I've mentioned it before in this, the whole idea of credit. You know, I've never opened a credit account or like a loan or anything like that. And when I look at my credit score, like it's not there. Like I don't have no lines of credit or whatever. And I don't know. Like every time I get it explained to me, I just don't understand what the point of credit is. Because I thought, as far as like the American dream type of idea and everything else, not only like owning a home and having a car and like doing business stuff and everything else, but I feel like it's more of the journey than anything else. And credit is just the largest shortcut that you can do, and it breaks you and it like ruins you for the most part. There is no one that knows how to use a line of credit except for your Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, and that's more so like not really credit, but they've gotten like federal grants and stuff like that. And sure, like normal people don't really like look at that because sometimes you got to create an idea for those grants and everything else, yada yada. But I don't know. I just feel like what I'm doing right now is right in a way, but it could be more. However, the only idea to get there is with credit. And I can't accept that. Like, I don't understand what that's all about. So, like, how do I put this? My like ideas of like stuff like living in a camper or like a vagabond type of idea. It's not so much that like, oh, I'm never gonna own a home and like I'm never gonna have money for this, that, and the other. Cause like, not gonna lie, my parents don't even own their home. And like, sure, there's the whole like renting and everything else, and yada yada. It's just, I don't know, but you get that sense of freedom in a way that flips it on its head if you were like homeless or whatever, because you don't think about having to pay bills, you don't think about having to take out loans, you don't think about lines of credit or money really in general, just except to get your next meal, or maybe, I don't know, I don't smoke, but like your next pack of smokes, or just you know small items that you might want. So like, I don't know how to put this, but like, I feel like at some point I'll somewhat own some piece of property. However, obviously time is a big factor. But I think my biggest thing right now is just I'm not really living. Like, I don't know how to actually interact with people. And me, I don't know if these videos are cohesive or not, but me even like speaking in these videos is like a whole thing where like I just don't know how to interact with people and just in general. And it's not like I'm so online that like I post things and I talk exclusively online and stuff like that. Because again, I mentioned that all I do is like watch other posts and stuff like that. I'm more of like a lurker. I'm dooming, in a way. But I don't know what else to really say. It's just, I feel like I need to express myself in a little bit more. However, I will say, from my interactions, like at work, for example, I'm known as the quiet person, and like when I do speak, I have to repeat myself several times. Like, I get my words mixed up so badly that like I don't even know what I said half the time, type of a thing. So it's just a little bit difficult, but you know. Anyhow, I think that's really what I wanted to talk about here. I know this one's probably going to be significantly shorter than any of my other previous videos, but again, it's only been 2 weeks since my last video. Nothing really outrageous has come up or whatever. There are some work stories I could talk about, whatever, but I don't know. I've like I mentioned with work and stuff, like I've kind of given up in a way that like I really don't care, other than just like, I don't know, think on it for like a day or two and then just give up on it. So I know, like, as far as like work stuff, I mentioned, the whole email that I got and everything else. But as far as stuff goes, I don't know. Um, I'm just feeling like, as far as work goes, for the most part, I'm just like there. I'm not really seen or heard. Or I'm seen but I'm not heard. Whatever you want to say. So anyhow, that's really about it that I have for this one. I know this one's a bit shorter, but who knows? Maybe something changes, and I don't know. Maybe I just read something that like crosses my mind and makes me think a little bit longer. So I hope this one's a little bit better. I know, like, I'm trying to pick up habits or whatever that I feel like are going to be a little bit better. At the same time, there are some downsides of them, I feel like, because I'm not really interacting with others in a way, but just like thinking in my own head, just thoughts are stewing or whatever. Maybe that's good. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've really pondered it, so who knows? Maybe something will come up better in the next 2 weeks or whenever I post my next video. I don't really know. And to some degree, I kind of don't really care. I mean, I do, but it's whatever.